Hello. We've been talking about how to be a teacher's pet, but I put together a short list of the things that I think drive your broker crazy, right? This is a short list. There's probably a very long list, but we're not going to focus on all those little things you do. I just want to hit a hot list here for you of the things that I think agents or brokers get a lot of complaints about that their agents do, that the consumer or client calls in and maybe wants to address. And these are usually the things that, again, you change your habit on these, you're probably going to move over to the teacher's pet category of working with your broker. A big complaint that a lot of brokers get is you show up late for appointments as agents. Now, I have heard over the years, there's a thing called realtor time, right? That just magically allows all of us to run, 10, 15, 20 minutes late? No. Now, I know culturally, being timely for appointments is maybe a little bit different for all of us. And I want to respect that as a cultural difference. However, if your clients are constantly at a property, whether it's their own or one they're looking to buy, and they're waiting for you, it's a problem. Do we run late every once in a while? Absolutely. Habitual? Think about it. I've never known an agent to get fired for always showing up on time, right? So be careful in that aspect. But from your broker's perspective, if you've got a time blocked out to meet them at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, and you show up at 10:30 and you still want an hour of their time, you're going to drive them crazy because they have other appointments too. A lot of your brokers are managing agents, managing staff, managing education, complaints, office policies, lawsuits, trust accounts, all of those office-y things, and they might still sell real estate, right? So when you run late, you're at risk of running them late, which throws their world out of balance as well. Another complaint that I think a lot of brokers are getting from clients about the agents is that deadlines weren't met on a contract. Excuse me, please be very careful of this. Record these things. When you get a deal together or you take a listing, set out what the expiration date is and back it up so that you can have a conversation to either extend it or get a broker protection letter put together of the buyers that you need to protect. If you've got deadlines for a home inspection, make sure that you're getting that on your calendar. That way, as an agent, you're not needing to, file a claim to flip the bill to have radon put in because you just simply missed the deadline to even approach the seller for it. Okay, so pay attention to deadlines on your contracts. Missing deadlines for renewal items, and there's two big categories here. One is your real estate license, including continuing education you might be doing right now. Doing the Con Ed is one thing. Make sure that you renew your license by December 31st of your third year as well. Number two, put this on your calendar right now. Pay your errors and omissions insurance. Now, some of you may have a broker that does that for you. That's great. Do make sure that it's done. I do know of a brokerage a few years ago that forgot to renew everyone's policies by the deadline, including the firm's policy, and they had a long weekend, so they left on a Friday, December 31st, and didn't get it done. And by the time they came back to the office on the third, they realized the issue. So I would say, even if you've got someone doing that for you, great, get a copy of your policy, but don't miss those deadlines. It puts you at risk. And unfortunately, then your broker may not really be able to do their job in helping you because you've missed maybe a coverage opportunity. Showing up unannounced to see the broker. Okay, now hear me out. Your broker is okay with you popping into the office. Your broker probably loves having you in the office if you have a traditional brick and mortar style of of brokerage. However, if you just constantly pop in without knowing whether they've got another meeting or another appointment or they're on vacation, et cetera, a lot of agents are like, well, I show up all the time. My broker's never here. My broker's never available. You're not letting them know that you need their availability to begin with. So popping in works. Don't get me wrong. It's better than nothing. But if you're constantly frustrating yourself and your broker and you are constantly having missed connections, it might be because you need to plan something and get it on the books, right? Ignoring clients. This one might seem like, now who would ignore a client? Every once in a while, we've got a difficult client. Talking to them is exhausting, right? You see their phone number and you're like, ugh. Put on a smile and answer it. But if that's not your style, every once in a while, we do get complaints that phone calls are not being returned, especially when we're in a transaction getting to closing. The other thing I'm going to top on top of that is sometimes as agents, we want to avoid a phone call, right? For a hard conversation, price reduction, a challenge that's come up. So we want to go back to our safe space of text and emailing. I'll never forget, our broker had a very meaningful conversation with an agent, said, you've got to call your clients. They've called and complained that they don't hear from you. They don't know what's going on. They want a phone call, not a text or an email like you've been doing. They need more. Sure enough, that agent went and said, my broker told me to call you, so I thought I'd send a quick note. And that client got all hot again and called the broker back and wanted a different agent, wanted to fire the agent and work with someone else. Because I don't want you to lose clients over something like that. And that was really 2 phone calls and probably 90 minutes worth of time that the broker didn't have to spare, and it was really unnecessary. So please keep in touch with your clients. And again, that could come down to simple email reminders, or a lot of you have contact management programs that help set those reminders, or some sort of a transaction log and follow up that you open it up and it says, call Amy Schaefer today, remind her about transferring utilities or something like that. Utilize those programs. That can help a lot of you out. I love to think I can remember everything. No, it's not reality. Skipping training opportunities. Hopefully you've got a brokerage that offers you a lot of variety, whether it's online, live, or a hybrid of all of that. As a broker, I'm going to suggest you offer opportunities, or if you've got a team meeting. I know some of you who attend team meetings very regularly. Your broker has them every Tuesday at 9 o'clock, and everybody shows up. It's a great standard. Yet the reality is we're also independent contractors. And I know that not everyone's actually doing it. My frustration is if your broker takes the time to do training, even if it's a weekly team meeting and that's it. First of all, as a broker, have an agenda, have some content. There's tons of things available for you for ideas. Do show up to those. I personally have witnessed this happening, and I'm using it as an example for training. We had an agent that was a top producer in the office, agreed to do training about how to do a market analysis, and she did a 2-hour class. Now, as a top producer, I'm going to assume you make $500 an hour. This is an easy math number. So if you give up 2 hours of your time to teach, let's not even talk about preparing for the class. Just to teach it for those 2 hours, you're giving up $1,000 just for the good of helping the agents in your office. Okay. And this goes for your broker too, right? They've got a high dollar per hour. This agent did a 2-hour class on how to do a market analysis. As they were leaving the training room, an agent stopped and said, "Hey, I just wanted to stop in really quick. Would you have time to help me out with a market?" And I thought that producer was gonna cry, right? She'd spent the last 2 hours pouring out her best knowledge just to have someone pop in and want help. Pay attention to that. Be respectful of folks' time. If it really did not work out for you to be there for that training, I think it would have been great to communicate that ahead of time. I bet that agent would have been a lot more willing to spend time outside of class if it hadn't gone down the way it went down. So don't miss training opportunities. And again, I have agents that are sometimes in the clouds about knowing what's going on. And we've had training on it 3 times in a month. There's been emails go out, voicemails, and an announcement on Facebook, and they still don't know what's happening. Please pay attention to all of those. And that goes into the office announcements. Now, again, as a broker, I've mentioned, you maybe want a policy of several different methods of communicating with your agents. I think that's a great idea. But as an agent, please pay attention to these office announcements, because typically they're about a process change or something like that that really does affect how you do your job. And some of us as agents, let's be honest, we maybe go a couple months without writing an offer, or sometimes it's longer, or some of us are super busy because we're writing 3, 5, 7, 10 a week. We've all got different businesses, right? And sometimes we think, oh, our business isn't busy right now. I don't need to pay attention to that. Pay attention, because then when the opportunity to buy or sell a home, a property, or help a client comes up, you don't want to be behind in announcements. And if you're super busy, that's great. But maybe you time block just some office time to review necessary emails, okay? I'm mentioning calendars a lot today. I think I've got a theme going for you. I wasn't even intending. Last but not least is your bad attitude. Okay. Sometimes we have bad days in real estate. Can we all agree? Or not all of them go as smoothly as we intended. Or besides real estate, we have lives, right? And sometimes we bring an attitude of something that happened as we were dropping kids off, or with a spouse, or something like that. List goes on and on. Got cut off in traffic. Leave your bad attitude at home. Now, I'm not saying don't ever come to the office if you're someone with an actually bad attitude. I'm just saying those days that we maybe are a little bit off, maybe we're a little bit understanding of that when we come to the office. The last thing that your broker likes is everyone's in a good mood and you come in with your seeky attitude and bring everyone down with you. So maybe be mindful of that, that if you're maybe really having a down day, I don't know, maybe that's a day you work from home. Might want to think about it. Again, these are some ideas of things that drive your broker crazy. Just a short list to keep in mind, again, so that you can become the teacher's pet.